Welcome back to our channel. Today you guys are looking at a very special Valencia Red NSX. This customer brought his car to us to get some more carbon upgrades done. So today we're going to be doing the carbon side skirts, the steering wheel, scrape armor, rock guards, and a bunch of other pieces for the interior. This car is equipped with the iLift, so that's a really nice little upgrade. We want to show you what it looks like here. The iLift is operated from the factory cruise control. And it really is something that this car needs because it sits so low. We're going to be putting the scrape armor on the vehicle. The scrape armor is a nice 3-piece kit for this particular NSX. It's laser cut plastic trim pieces mounted with countersunk screws. Essentially, it protects the bottom of the vehicle from scrapes, and any rocks that do get trapped gets channeled out from those grooves that you see. So we're going to bolt this under the front of the NSX. This car does have the full carbon package, so having this really protects the bottom side of the carbon. We'll also be doing the carbon steering wheel upgrade. This one has black Alcantara, which matches the glove box nicely with the red stitching and the red stripe. Carbon extended paddles, carbon faceplate to match. So we're getting this thing installed on the vehicle right now. One of the things to note here is if you guys are doing the steering wheel, we do have a separate video on our channel that shows you how to install the actual steering wheel. Here you can see the carbon side skirts peeking out from the factory aero carbon. This customer has the factory carbon door sills that light up as well. The side skirts are direct bolt on, no glue, no drilling, totally reversible. We thought it was going to be fun to show you how the car sounds. You can hear the NSX fired up in the background. In the foreground is a 458 with a stock exhaust. So here you guys can hear the rev difference in the engine sounds. This is the factory exhaust from the Ferrari, just revving a little bit. And then this is the SOS downpipes and exhaust from the NSX. Alright, here's where the fun begins. Day 2, we're going to get the car in there. These are the pieces we're going to be installing on the vehicle. You guys will have this video to reference, but we don't. So we wanted to let you know our advice, some tips on how to do this. I would say make sure you plan to have the vehicle non-mobile for at least a couple days in case you get stuck, because you're going to be taking the steering wheel off when you're doing this. So you don't want to be in a position where you have to move the car and the dash is all apart. So definitely plan for a couple days if you're doing this by yourself. This video will help you so you can see all the clips. But take your time and make sure you use a lot of blue painter's tape to protect areas, delicate areas when you pry. We don't show it in the video, but we do use a lot of blue tape when we're protecting all the trim pieces. So here you can see the steering wheel is removed. The gauge cluster shroud is loose and removed as well. So we'll show you where those clips are to remove. I know you guys, a lot of us has asked how to remove this trim piece. You do need to remove the pillars, which we'll show you in a minute. But here you can see it's already loose. So we're going to come around the side. We'll show you what these clips look like. Here you can see the clips, the shiny silver pieces. They're all clipped around the dash. Just take your time and make sure the clips don't fly off because the metal clips could separate. Here the radio's taken out. Here you get a better view of the clips on the dash. One thing to note is if you're just swapping out the center switch panel piece, you do not need to remove all this. This is only if you're doing the large 2-piece dash setup, which is what we're doing. Here's the pillars that I talked about earlier. You can see the 2 hidden screws behind those plastic trims. They both need to be removed to gain access to pretty much everything else on the dash. The passenger airbag is hidden under that piece of leather right above the glove box, so we'll show you that later what that looks like. Here the whole dash has been taken out. You can see everything's gone. Center console, radio, the gauges. Here's a look at the harnesses that just hooked up to the radio itself. So definitely take your time when you're doing this and make sure you remember every harness so you can go back and plug it in. because you don't want to mess or miss a couple harnesses and then you have to go back in again later. All right, with the start button, if you notice here, some of the videos we moved the start button to the center console, which is an option you can do. So here we just want to show you there, see that gray plug? That's the plug that you need to extend to the center console if you want the start button to work from that particular location. One thing to keep in mind here is if you order this two-piece carbon dash panel from us, we do give you the option to delete the start button in the factory location. That way you don't have two start buttons. So if you wish to do something like that, just let us know and we can discuss the process. But that is an option to delete that particular start button hole. One thing to notice, since we're taking the whole car apart, as you can see, if you're planning any stereo upgrades, this is a great time to consider running cables for your dash camera, your radar detector, whatever else you want to do, stereo amps, because this is no better time than this to do all the wiring while the dash is fully exposed. Here you can see the dash is pretty much everything's gone. Last view of the carbon dash panel kit. This particular customer opted to retain the start button in the factory location, which you can see there. We do offer this panel in matte as well, which if you guys remember our other YouTube video on the Type S, the blue one in Vegas, he opted for the matte finish instead, but this car has the gloss finish. Here's a view of the passenger airbag, so you can see all the clips and how to remove it. Here we removed the red center console piece, and there's the stock factory pieces removed from the vehicle. Very bulky, very strange pieces to have. Usually when you're doing a dash trim, upgrade like on a BMW, you just pop out the trims. Apparently that is not the case here. You can see you need roughly 4 hands to position this piece. It's very easy to bend and tweak, so try not to apply too much pressure. Have one friend hold it while the other one lines it up and bolts it in. Definitely don't rush, take your time. There's a lot of tabs where they have to sit behind another plastic tab. So it's kind of like playing Tetris. You want to make a mental or visual memory of where all the pieces go. So when you put it back together, this is why you wanted those cups labeled with the screws. If you don't do that, you're going to be guessing which screw goes where. So highly recommend you use cups, label all the screws. Here you can see the door panels are being put back together with the handles going to snap in. This car's got the speaker grill inserts. The center piece is all ready to go. The radio's in the car now. Glove box is there on the floor because we don't need to remove it. There's the center piece all ready to go back in the car. It is easier to work on the car without the steering wheel in the vehicle for sure. Here the dash is going to get back together. Passenger airbag is back in. We're trying to fit the driver's side piece here. The driver's side piece is also kind of like Tetris. There's some parts, there's a tab that extends over to the gauge cluster. So you got to make sure it sits properly under the tab, because if you don't do that, it's not going to line up correctly. So take your time. They're pretty much all 10mm bolts or clips. So as long as you have one tool, you can pretty much take most of that dash apart. Here we're positioning or loosening the gauge cluster to make it line up. And there you can see it finished being installed. Due to the shape of these dash pieces, it's extremely difficult to wrap these parts. I know on the video it looks pretty straightforward, but it's extremely difficult to work. The shape, the contours, and everything's exposed, so you don't have much room for error. Everything has to be done correctly. I mean, when it's fully complete, you can see the whole interior is immediately a couple shades darker. The carbon just, makes the whole car look ultra sporty, ultra high end. I know looks are always subjective, but here the carbon side skirts teamed with all the carbon interior bits, just makes this car. It looks amazing. Here we're going to do a quick walk around. You can see the carbon nose beak, which was already on the car. We had the customer, I think he put it on himself. It's got the carbon badges. The car doesn't have the carbon hood vents. That's a new product that's not ready yet, so we'll be shipping this to the customer for him to install, but everything else is pretty much completed on the car. Carbon power window trims, door handles, speaker grill inserts, 2-piece large dash kit, steering wheel with a meaty grip, carbon extended paddles. So you see how the carbon extends underneath the whole dash. I mean, super sporty. I mean, this is how I think the NSX should have came. The beauty of this is, you know, we had a couple customers come by the shop and saw the car, and he said, "Oh my God, that looks awesome." They thought that was a factory Acura upgrade. That's what we wanted. We wanted the OEM Plus look. We're not trying to go for a look where it looks like you know, totally modified the car, but more of a subtle, clean, aesthetically pleasing look. The one funny thing is, from the factory in the 17, 18 models, if you had the carbon aero kit, the carbon exterior package, everything is matte. So the factory carbon aero pieces, the wing, the front lip, everything is matte carbon. And then if you got the carbon roof option, it's gloss. So really, you can go either way with the interior trim pieces. You know, we get a lot of questions. Customers say, "Hey, I want the carbon pieces to match my carbon." And our first question is, which carbon you're talking about? Because there really isn't much carbon in the vehicle. You have a little piece of carbon on the factory steering wheel. You got the carbon roof, carbon engine covers on the Type S if you have the lightweight package, but it's gloss. So really, you can go gloss or matte. I mean, you don't have to go with one specific type. The factory gauge cluster, however, if you do have that in carbon, is always matte. I don't believe that comes in gloss. So here, everything's done. Interior is done. Everything is gloss on the interior. Carbon factory door sills look pretty sharp. They do light up at night as well. Engine covers, as you can tell, are matte. This is the factory engine covers. So with the carbon fiber side skirts, you can see, you know, we added the carbon rock guards, which prevents pebbles and rocks from getting caught up inside the side skirts itself, plus it saves the paint. The rock guards are double-sided full carbon laser cut. So you can see it here mounted to the behind the front wheels. Interior is pretty much all done. You can see the paddles, the steering wheel. The car is pretty much complete at this point, so we just want to say thank you for watching this video and hope you guys found this video useful and appreciate the support and continued participation. Thank you.